A random person asks you one day what you would like to do if you could do anything, anything at all, and of course your first thought to yourself is that this must be some kind of trap or a silly question that no one really wants the answer to, but the question is so enticing. I mean, if you could really spend every day doing something that you really wanted to do, and presumably could still afford to eat and bathe and put gas in the car and pay for a movie on a date and buy that awesome gotta have it that you've always wanted, and that random person is still standing there waiting for an answer, and so you simply blurt out the first thing that comes to mind, which is rock star. Really? You want to be a rock star? That's what you most want to do if you could do anything. I mean, there's a bazillion things you could be doing if you really could do anything, like exploring far remote reaches of some fantastic frozen tundra, or swimming with sharks, or riding a rocket to the first human habitation on Mars, or for that matter, since you really could do anything at all, why not choose Kepler 22b, an extrasolar planet orbiting a G-type star named Kepler 22, located only 600 light-years away from Earth in a constellation of Zygus that you can observe in our night sky. A star system, which is named for the NASA spacecraft that discovered this super-Earth, which was in turn named after the Renaissance astronomer Johannes Kepler. And yet the random person is still standing there waiting for you to confirm that rockstar is indeed what you want to be. Yep, rockstar, you reply, to which he smiles and asks the next inevitable and most annoying question of them all. Why? 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 It's a terrible yet incredibly common word in the English language, and that can be used as an adverb in a sentence like, why did you ask me? Or an exclamation, why yes, I want to be a rock star, or even a noun as in the problem with all these whys is that they remain unanswered. But the random person is still standing there waiting for an answer. Because I love to play the bass guitar. Really? You love to play the bass guitar. Do you really love to play the bass guitar? I mean, it's not the lead guitar that riffs off on crazy melodic lines, nor the drums that hold the beat until that awesome moment of liberation when arms and mind lift free in a flurry of incalculable staccato rolls that rip across the set. But you love the bass guitar, or perhaps more specifically the electric bass, and to achieve that low pulsing walking cadence that sets the bass guitar apart and makes it such an integral part of the rock band. So now you look back at the random stranger, waiting for them to laugh or tell you you're crazy, or something else that you've heard from everyone you know except for your bandmates, until that night after the gig when things got a little crazy, and now you're not sure if the band is broken up or if you're just renaming the band for a comeback tour. When the stranger asks, so why do you love the bass guitar? Which completely dashes your train of thought, the train that so recently had taken you to Kepler 22b, and this question is even more annoying than the last question of why, because it is being used as an adverb, modifying the verb do, or to do, and yet the random person is still standing there waiting for you to respond, so you think. This time, you actually engage that four-lobed organ that weighs approximately 3 pounds and is roughly the consistency of soft tofu, which you tried the other day and found to be completely tasteless, but otherwise not harmful, though you said you loved it because you were buying dinner on a date. So why do you love the bass? And why do you want to be a rock star? Well, the bass is the link between harmony and melody. It blends smoothly into the song as to be unnoticeable until you stop, at which point you definitely notice that the band has no bass. You love playing the bass and working hard, and learning the bass is definitely hard, tedious work, and yet you know you are still far away from real rock stars, like Paul McCartney, which people rarely think of as a bass player, but who definitely was. You would really love to be part of a life like that, and to get that chance, you would work your fingers until they were so calloused you couldn't feel the keys on the keyboard. But when you really get down to it, what you really want is to be part of this world of music, of sound, that can move and lift and inspire and transport and turn the average 9-to-5 into a raving, cheering, free spirit. And now that random person is smiling because you said all of that out loud without meaning to, and now that person is talking to you and taking you places with new options. Have you ever thought about the science, technology, engineering, and math in the rock industry? About manufacturing strings or building the guitars themselves? What about the sound engineer that sets the mics and cables and records and equalizes the sound to turn that raw finger strumming, plucking, pulling, and sliding into the wall of sound that audience in Tokyo crave as they download it from digital store into a digital device that another kind of engineer created to translate the analog to digital? Analog and digital, those are terms used in cellular phones and telecommunications, which is all about the transmission of sound, conversion, control, and routing of those digital pulses into light, much like the pulsing light display that renders the rock stage into a stage and not just the back of a flatbed truck, which looks a lot like a flatbed truck in the daylight without the wizardry of light. But we are talking about sound, not just the sound that a bass player creates or that an audio technician engineer creates by analyzing your living room to install a home audio system, but the sound that is carried and broadcast like this one on YouTube, or maybe television, or even radio, which is now broadcast across satellite arrays. And now you think this random person was done. But they aren't. Now they're talking about sound engineers in other settings like the sonographer. Did you know that the sonographer make up to $60,000 per year or more without a college degree? And this random stranger is now seeming less like a random stranger and more like a new friend that you'd like to get to know better. And they are opening up a new world to you, talking about radiation-free diagnostics and other interesting terms like abdomen, breast, cardiac, and musculoskeletal. Wait, they said breast. Are we allowed to say breast? I assume we are, since we're talking about diagnostics and prevention of disease. But that's what these sound engineers of health do for a living, saving lives by bending sound to create radical, even three-dimensional images of the human body, like some amazing alien technology that will someday be found on Kepler 22b. Now that is a real rock star. So now that we've come full circle and your newest friend is smiling again and waiting for you to respond to his initial question of what you would want to be if you could be anything at all. And now the question seems so much more interesting and so much bigger than you ever expected it could be, and maybe there's a place for a rock star like you in the health or science or even space exploration, because all the time you've invested proves that you can do anything you want. Maybe that rock star lifestyle is still in reach, still a possibility, 1,000 possibilities. So what is it you really want to do if you could do anything? This time you smile back in that knowing way because you don't want to tell your innermost secrets to some random stranger, and you say, a rock star. Do what you love.